this is Adam Bernard with AutoPerspectives, and we are back for another news roundup. And this will probably be the last news roundup for the year, so you all take a little time off for the holidays and get ready to start the new year fresh. And even though it is the end of the year, there has been some interesting news. We'll start off with Citroen rethinking the MPV. My first car was a 1974 Peugeot 504, so I've always had a weakness for French cars, especially the weird ones. And Citroen has come up with some other clever and occasionally bonkers concepts over the years. And the ELO, which is named for the second letters of the words rest, play, and work, and not the Electric Light Orchestra, does not disappoint. Like most European brands, Citroen has exited the compact MPV segment that started with the Renault Scenic back in the 1990s. But they are looking to prove that the return of the MPV is absolutely not boring. And not boring is definitely one phrase to use when applied to this particular concept. Citroen partnered with sporting goods retailer Decathlon on the design. And let's get into some of the details here. The overall footprint for the ELO is actually smaller than the C3 small hatchback, but there is room for 6 inside, and we're going to look at the interior in a bit. It has identical front and rear bumpers to reduce complexity and cost. We've already seen Citroen employ that with the Ami quadricycle. You'll see from this view that the rear doors extend into the roof to add more light and also to aid entry and exit. And it's got an asymmetrically split tailgate. And apparently the rear roof section opens to allow taller loads, not unlike the Studebaker Wagonaire from the 1960s. There's a Goodyear tire pressure monitor that shines a red LED on the tire if the pressure is low, and otherwise it shines a little green light if the tire pressure is acceptable. And the ELO features a base camp capability. So there are ceiling-mounted deployable mattresses, an integrated air pump, and a mountable awning. So you can take this thing camping with you with a place to rest. You see the little extrusions on either side of the tailgate, and there's some in the front as well. Those are actually designed to serve as trays for dinner plates. So when you are camping and you need a place to put your burger, you have a place to rest it. I mentioned that the interior is a 6-seater, and it is a 3+3 configuration, and you're looking at the view from the driver's seat, which is centrally located, and it rotates as well. The 3+3 seating configuration is something you won't find in any vehicle in production at the moment, but you might remember the equally weird Fiat Multipla from a while back. There are steering wheel mounted joysticks for secondary controls, and you'll note there is no conventional touchscreen, but all the information you need is displayed in a band there along the base of the windshield. The single spoke steering wheel that you see was inspired by the legendary Citroen DS. Not surprisingly, the interior features a lot of recycled and recyclable materials. We're seeing more and more automakers put these into production vehicles, so no surprise to see it here in a concept. The front passenger seats on either side of the driver's seat are removable and stowable, and there's a desk attachment for the driver's seat. And the fact that it rotates means you can turn this into a little private workspace. The rear passenger seats can also be removed and used as outdoor chairs. So getting back to that whole base camp phenomenon. There are sportswear-inspired storage compartments on the cabin walls. Now, it's really rare to see a true concept vehicle these days that is not simply a lightly disguised production model. So I was very pleased to see Citroen go down this route. I don't think we're going to see anything like the ELO on the road anytime soon, but I like to think that an idea or two from this concept might make it into production. Next up is something more realistic that is a production vehicle, and this is Mercedes' second generation GLB. And it also replaces the EQB, which was the electric version of the previous generation GLB. If you're familiar with the GLB, this looks a lot like the previous generation. It's a very evolutionary approach, but it now moves to the MMA architecture, which underpins the recently launched CLA sedan and wagon. And when we see the GLA next year, that'll be the fourth entry off this portfolio, and that will be a smaller, more affordable SUV. You might recall the original GLB was originally described as being kind of a baby G-Class. Didn't quite get there, but it is a boxier design than most of the other Mercedes SUVs that are on the road. Like the CLA, it will come as an electric vehicle, technically known as the GLB with EQ technology. Likely to eventually just be known as the GLB Electric as Mercedes phases out the EQ sub-brand. And the specs are pretty much what we saw in the CLA EQ, an 85 kilowatt hour battery pack, 800 volt architecture, 320 kilowatts fast charging capability, which gets it about 140 miles EPA equivalent in about 10 minutes, which is not quite as good as gas fill up, but very, very close. There's a 2-speed transmission, which Porsche also employs. It comes as either rear drive or all-wheel drive with up to the EPA equivalent of 340 miles and up to 349 horsepower. And then following the electric version, which launches first, there will be a 1.5-liter mild hybrid variant. Up front, and we're looking at the electric version here, the grille features 94 individually animated LED stars in a chrome look with an illuminated central star, apparently only in some countries, depending on regulations. The hybrid will get a more conventional chrome grille, and we've seen that with the more recent GLC electric. The new GLB is longer and roomier with more cargo space. At the rear, you can see a light band with little integrated Mercedes 3-pointed stars there as part of the lighting elements. Obviously, light bands are very trendy these days, so Mercedes wanted to be on point with that. You can get an electrochromic panoramic glass roof with 158 illuminated stars, so sort of a poor man's approach to Rolls-Royce's starlit roof. The all-wheel drive models feature terrain mode for field and gravel roads, and there is also transparent hood technology, which provides a virtual view under the vehicle with the addition of a couple of cameras. The interior is probably the least surprising aspect of the GLB. It appears to be pretty much identical to the CLA, including the new full-width super screen display. The steering wheel now features physical controls for volume and adaptive cruise control distance, as opposed to haptic or capacitive switches. There's a virtual assistant that integrates both Microsoft and Google AI technologies, so you're kind of doubly protected there. And MBUX, the Mercedes-Benz user experience, offers 11 ambient styles that adjust colors, lighting, and background images. There is an optional third row, as in the previous GLB, for people up to about 5'6" tall. So not me, for example, but kids should be okay back there. And there's a sliding row second row seat, which is a new addition for the GLB. So that provides a little more capability between the second and the third rows. You can get an 850 watt, 16 speaker Burmester 3D surround sound system. And there are numerous standard and optional drive assist technologies. So like with the CLA, there are a lot of significant improvements in terms of both functionality and capability and performance with the GLB. And this should make it a pretty competitive vehicle once it hits the market over the next few months. From here, we will segue to Korea, to the Kia Seltos. Kia has a whole global portfolio of SUVs, all the way from the Sonnet up to the Telluride and the EV9. This is one of 2 B-segment SUVs alongside the smaller Stonic, which at the moment is only sold in Europe and China. Seltos is sold in quite a few more markets. It continues Kia's opposites united design philosophy, but it picks up its face from the just-launched Telluride, which you remember was shown at the LA Auto Show. So with a very wide grille and very interestingly integrated lighting units on either side. It also picks up some design cues like the squared-off black wheel arch trims from Kia's EVs. So we're starting to see kind of a melding of the ICE and the EV design philosophies. It does feature the star map lighting signature up front. It's got flush door handles, which you don't normally find on an SUV at this price point. There are both X line, which is kind of the off-roadish version, and GT line, which is kind of the performance version variants. The new Seltos overall is longer, lower, wider, and roomier with a stiffer body structure. At the back, you get one of Kia's very unique rear lighting signatures. Underneath, Seltos moves from the K2 to the newer K3 platform, although the engines are largely carried over. 2-liter gas, 2 1.6-liter turbos, and specific to India, a 1.5-liter gas and diesel engine. Next year, there will be a hybrid with a V2L capability, which you don't normally see outside of an EV, but we're, Hyundai and Kia, we're kind of upfront in providing that. So now they're expanding to their hybrid models. The hybrid also features smart regenerative braking. Transmissions include a wide variety. Manual, CVT, dual clutch, and conventional automatics are available around the world. Not every transmission in every market, but it indicates how many places the Seltos is being sold and to what extent Kia has come up with, to be honest, a really complex powertrain portfolio to meet the needs of all those individual buyers. The all-wheel drive variant now includes multi-link rear suspension and a terrain mode with settings for snow, mud, and sand. This is a really nice interior for a B-segment SUV. It features the now traditional twin screen layout that we see on just about everything. In this case, there's a little screen between the two bigger screens, and that's for climate control. We've seen it on other Kias as well. There's a head-up display, and it now has a column-mounted electronic shifter. So it doesn't have the twisty thing that you see on some other Kias. There is an onboard AI digital assistant. There are over-the-air software updates and a digital phone key. And you'll note, again, it's nice to see an interior that's not black on black on black. It's a little lighter and airier, and again, contributes to an overall more upscale look. There is 64 color ambient lighting, reclining rear seats, and available Harman Kardon and Bose audio systems, as well as a full suite of driver assist technology. It's now expected that Kia will sell this vehicle in Europe. So this will be sold alongside the Stonic, is a little bigger and more premium, and it gives them a more complete SUV portfolio over there, and that'll be on top of the existing markets. So it'll start to show up in some markets in December, but most other markets in the world will see in the first quarter of next year. Overall, again, a lot of upgrades in terms of functionality and capability and aesthetics. It is a nicer looking, more upscale vehicle and should be a strong competitor in this segment. And we'll finish off in Malaysia. Unless you live in Malaysia, you might not be aware that Malaysia has its own homegrown automaker, and that is Perodua. This is the Perodua QVE. Now, Perodua was established in 1993, largely leveraging Daihatsu and Toyota products. So most of their vehicles were simply rebadged versions of Toyotas, but they started to kind of branch out, get into some more of their own bespoke vehicles. Last year, they sold about 350,000 units in ASEAN markets, so they're by no means a niche player. They spent about $187 million to create their first in-house EV. They did it in about 28 months, which is quite fast. It's not China fast, but it is quite fast. And it supports the government's new Industrial Master Plan 2030 that was unveiled in September. This platform was developed with Magna Steyr for both mini and small models, and it supports hybrid, EREV, and EV technology. So beyond the EV that you see here, we will likely see other new Peroduas over the next several years. QVE, by the way, stands for Quest for Visionary Electric Vehicle. So kind of a highfalutin approach to product development. Perodua says they are currently capable of building about 500 of these per month, but are targeting to be able to build 3,000 a month by the third quarter of next year. So getting into some decent volumes there. It is front drive only, 201 horsepower motor. It has a CATL Chinese sourced 52 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery and V2L capability. So 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds, not fastest EV out there, but again, we are talking entry level. And an EPA equivalent range of about 200 miles. Also not super competitive, but again, very low price we're talking here. The DC fast charge is 60 kilowatts. It does feature flush door handles, wireless phone projection, child presence detection, and a full suite of driver assist technology. And I've mentioned cost a few times, and you're probably asking, how much does this cost? So an interesting setup here, and it's something we've seen in China, but we don't see it a lot outside of China, occasionally in Europe, is the notion of battery as a service. So you buy a QVE for $17,600, but you don't get the battery. You actually lease the battery at the rate of a relatively affordable $65 a month. So the nice thing is that, as battery technology gets upgraded, you probably have an easy way to upgrade from an older battery to a newer battery if you choose to do so. We're obviously not going to see this vehicle in North America. This is largely restricted to ASEAN markets, but it does indicate that lots of folks are getting into the EV business, whether it's established automakers and in some cases getting some government support and encouragement, because as I noted, this is part of the Malaysian government's industrial master plan. And that about wraps up this year and this week in Auto Perspectives. As I said, I think I'll be taking the next couple of weeks off. I will be heading to CES in early January, so I hope to get a video out before then. In the meantime, visit autoperspectives.net to check in on the blog, because I will be doing some writing between now and the end of the year. And of course, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. If you like what you see and hear today, then please subscribe and share. Everyone have safe holidays, and I will see you all in the new year. So long.